This is SERb with 72nd Griffin's Airsoft team out of Lakeside, California. I have here a PP-19 Bizon. I picked it up used from Modern Airsoft. It's pretty good. However, the magazine, I discovered that when it gets sand in it, it doesn't. This is a 1,000 round plunger magazine. So what I mean by that is that this right here pulls back, and there's a giant spring in here, and it pushes a plunger towards the end of this little high cap mechanism. You wind this. You'll see me in my videos winding this quite a lot. And the reason why that is because the plunger inside here, it gets stuck due to its high tolerance, and I'll show you where that rubbing happens on the inside of the magazine. So let's get to it. I watched a few videos just to get a starter idea of how to go about this process and what to do. So right off the bat, I noticed that what they would do is they would look for this crease right here. If you see this crease, there's a little crease right here. I took a razor blade, just like right here, right on my desk, and I worked that razor blade all the way around the crease. Now, there's a small amount of glue. It's not strong. There's a small amount of glue underneath this lip. You're going to want to just wiggle this around until the glue, until it feels fairly loose. But be careful, because you don't want this to break. Now, what I did was I took, it doesn't take a lot of pressure, but once I got what I felt like the glue was pretty well loose, I took my hand like this and I just turned it. And be careful, because it is under pressure. Not a lot of pressure, but it is under a little bit of pressure, so you don't want to just fling it off, because there's a spring in here. Now, this spring connects to that circle. You're going to just pull this spring out. Now, I've already modified a little bit. I'm going to show you what I did. So inside here, there's the plunger. We're just going to let that fall all the way out. If it has a hard time pulling it out, just use the that. No, it falls right out because I used a little sandpaper on the edges. Now, I took a look inside, and the first thing I noticed immediately was there's a lot of scratching. The tolerance of this plunger is very tight, so what that means is that you put sand anywhere near this gun, this is going to start creating scratches on the inside of the magazine well, or whatever. So what I did is I took a sandpaper. Shit, where is it? Pardon me, my French. Took sandpaper, you see right here, and I sanded down right here. I sanded all the way around the edges. I took about a millimeter off. I try to be very gentle with it, because all you want to do is allow there for a little bit of spacing for this to push in and out without scratching up against stuff. See, when you've something I've learned, I used to fight in the woods, and you never had to deal with these things. Your guns would never get dirty. And so I've learned a lot of things in regards to, magazine maintenance and, modifying magazines a little bit to make them work for you. This works for me. I'm very excited to see what it does. I've already, put ammo in it and shot it, and I'm impressed. I'm stoked. And it just took me a little bit of sandpaper and my razor blade. But like I said, be careful about breaking this. There's a video on YouTube where the guy actually does break this and chip it. I'm glad I decided to put my hand on it and twist first, because breaking it and chipping it was the last thing I wanted to do. So that being said, sand this down, all the edges, take off up to a millimeter, not much more than that. And then you've got you've got a nice empty tube right here. Take yourself a cloth or whatever, spritz some Simple Green or Windex or whatever, just something that'll grab the dirt, and leave it clean. And something that'll dry quickly, because you don't want this to be left, super wet. It'll dry quickly. Pull out the dust, plug the plunger back in, make sure you put it at the right height. After sanding it, it should just fall right in. It shouldn't scrape against anything, so make sure just Drop it in a few times and just make sure it just falls right in. Once it falls right in, you know you're good. Take your spring, put everything back together, bing, bang, boom, you're done. Oh, quick, P.S. One last thing I discovered when closing this up, forgot to mention in the video, I'm throwing this in last minute, is that there are notches right here. If you see on the magazine, there are notches right here. So when you put this back in place, find the notch, make sure it seats in front and back. So wiggle it around until you find the notch for it to drop in. There you go. You might have to play with it a little bit, but it drops in on both sides, and then you just turn it till you get to right here. It doesn't turn any more than that, so that's how you know you got it. It stops turning, like a quarter turn type deal. Alright, thanks.